last will and testament versus a living will. I get this a lot. People call me all the time wanting to know the difference between a last will and testament and a living will. I mean, come on, they sound essentially the same, so it is a little confusing. So let me break it down for you and make it a bit easier, I hope. So your last will and testament is the document that's going to state what you want to have happen to your estate upon your death. So essentially where you want your stuff to go, who gets what. The last will and testament may also contain some type of burial or cremation direction. So if you have a certain thought or feeling as to whether you want to be buried or cremated, do you want a celebration of life? Do you want to have a funeral? Things like this would be included in your last will and testament. Finally, the last will and testament is a great place to list specific gifts. So if you have specific items that you want to go to certain people, you would leave these in your last will and testament. Your living will, on the other hand, is that document that gives your direction for medical treatment or health care when it's an end of life scenario. So we all have this potential of one day facing a situation where we either have a terminal illness, some kind of end stage condition, or maybe even end up in some type of vegetative state. If this is the case, and it's pretty clear that we're on the road to dying, then it might be a good idea to consider getting a living will, because this is the document that will direct doctors and other healthcare providers, as well as let your family know, what you want to have happen in those end-of-life scenarios. Do you want to be on life support? Do you want a feeding tube? Do you want to be resuscitated if you do end up going out? Do you want to be kept in the hospital and be kept alive through any type of treatment or procedure? Do you want to be given antibiotics, chemotherapy, any other treatment that may potentially result in prolonging your life? Or would you rather be at home, potentially just have some pain medications and not be hooked up to machines? So these are very important directions that you might want to put in place. So one, your family doesn't have to, and they don't have the stress of doing that. And also, so medical providers know exactly what they can and can't do when you're in this scenario. So I hope now you understand the difference between a last will and testament and a living will.